Welcome to Come Heal Yourself with Monica Goyle on OMTimes Radio. Monica is a spiritual counselor and healer with a life purpose to put people in touch with their innate healing abilities, empowering them to live a life full of joy, love, peace, and abundance. Through this show, you'll learn to heal every aspect of your life by connecting to your higher self. And now your host, Monica Goyle.
Come heal yourself. Are you prepared to drink 7 cups of consciousness today? We have a very special guest, Aleya Dao, with us today. Welcome to the show, Aleya.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
We are so grateful to you. A brief intro on Aleya, and we will be discussing more so you can know her more and more about her work. Aleya is a sound healer, energetic practitioner, and minister in the state of California. And she holds a Doctor of Oriental Medicine degree. She has been a healer for 20 years and will be talking a lot more about the work she do. I have to say she's phenomenal. And I got to listen to her around 4 years ago. And I have to say her voice just took me so deep. And since then, I've always wanted to, have her, talk to her, have a conversation with her, connect with her, and learn so much. And here she is. She's the author of her new book, 7 Cups of Consciousness, Change Your Life by Connecting to the Higher Realms. The book that is released by New World Library. Thank you so much, Aleya, and welcome once again.
Thank you.
So, Aleya, tell us about your journey. What led you to becoming a sound healer and energetic practitioner and a spiritual guide?
It actually started a very long time ago. As a child, literally at the age of 6, I was intrigued with health and healing, spirituality and consciousness. And I didn't have a framework for it at that age, but continued to explore alternative realms of healing when I was in my adolescence. And then when I went on to college, I ended up going to massage school and getting my massage degree. And then my senior year in college had my first private practice. And it just gently evolved from there. It went on and got my master's in Oriental medicine.
Yeah.
And then after being in private practice for over 10 years, I ended up having an enlightenment experience.
Wow.
Where I was lying on a sound table, receiving a healing session. And as the music was coursing through the water bed below me, a white light flashed over me and my awareness and perception radically shifted. I had this awareness of other dimensions and beings and other realms and being able to understand why people struggle and what it is their soul is really after. And then from that moment of that session, it's just continued to build. My awareness has grown and layers of it keep coming in. And the book, 7 Cups of Consciousness, is really a reflection and expression of these 7 concepts that I use with myself and with my subscribers and clients to help them create the life that they are truly intending on creating.
So wonderful. And we are very grateful because, I think, like you said, as a 6-year-old, you started to, connect with spirit. You felt connected with spirit. And I'm not sure if at that point you understood the word healing.
No. And I don't think that, at a mind level, when we're that age, I think it's just innate. And then the process is for children to hold and help them cultivate and maintain that awareness of connection that they come into this world having.
Yeah. So, did you have a family that was supportive of this or?
They didn't consciously know, but, it was a very loving environment. And so, of course, every family has their challenges.
Of course.
But it was a very supportive environment and loving. So that was a huge asset.
Wow. And they encouraged you to follow your own heart and it was easy for you to stay on the path?
Yeah, I don't think it was easy. I wouldn't call it easy, but but it was a journey, and my whole goal is to create tools for myself and for others that make it an easier journey, and so sometimes we have to struggle to find an easier path, and that's really what all of the work and the teachings and the meditations and the music that I do to help people find an easier path that's more clear. And if I have to suffer in order to help others for a short bit of time, 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, really pondering deeply what is being asked for, and then come up with a formula or a map, then it's worth it.
I get it. I know. So I know you have been composing music albums for a long time now.
Yeah, I think since 2004, after my enlightenment experience, I was literally hearing the angelic choir, the beings in the higher realms singing to me. And early on, they said, Aleya, you're going to be doing this with others. And I was like, no way. I'm not gonna be using my voice to shift consciousness. And then the dolphins and the whales came to me in dream time. The angelic realm was surrounding me in the higher realms. And then after about 3 or 4 years of that, I actually started recording in a recording studio these sounds that I was hearing from these other realms.
Wow. I mean, talking to you itself, I get that magical feeling. So your experience must have been just, and I read your book. I started your book, and I as I was reading about your experience, I mean, how you felt about it, and so much light. It's just like, it's just a bit of what I can feel right now, right? And,
beautiful.
And it's just magical. So I'm sure, it must have been so, there are no words to describe it, right? The experience that you must have had at that point.
Yes, I mean, it's about the experience, but I think even more deeply, all of us are looking for a deeper level of connection and peace.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the times we go externally for it, or we think that having a moment like an enlightenment experience is going to solve all of the challenges, and then we're going to be in a state of total bliss and life is going to be perfect. And I don't really think of it like that. It's more about the process of cultivating a deeper level of connection with the essence that resides within. And so those 7 concepts that I speak about are really giving people the path to come more deeply inside themselves and feel that inner magic and that inner light, and then cultivate greater degrees of self-love, so that as we journey through the world, whatever challenges we encounter, it doesn't sink us, that we can rise above it and also maintain a deep level of peace regardless of the outer. And so for me, that enlightenment experience in 2001 was really just the beginning, and my level of sensitivity went through the roof, which means I empathically felt other people's pain, so much so that I thought it was my own. But fortunately, I had what I call the angelic Bluetooth, and my guides were like, Aleya, what you're feeling right now is not your own, but you have to figure out how to help this individual shift it. And so over the years, basically created a formula to help me move out of empathic sensitivity and model the solution to the person that I was feeling, so that they can shift their own energy. And so as we awaken and evolve, I think what happens is we get more and more sensitive.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I mean, I have experienced it myself, but then, like you said, the idea here is to be able to help. So it's important to detach and help.
Yes.
Rather than absorbing that pain.
Absolutely. And not taking responsibility for other people's emotions, energy, journey, and lessons, recognizing that every person is a wise, conscious, courageous, sentient being. And we're all here growing and evolving. And so the more we can be modeling the solution to those who are in a place of suffering, the more empowered we become and they become, and the world becomes lighter and brighter and more coherent in every breath.
Right. That's so true. So tell us about your process of the creation of the 7 cups of consciousness?
I actually started teaching these 7 concepts, and originally they were called the 7 principles, and then it evolved to the 7 gateways, but it's essentially the same 7 ideas. And in 2001, it basically took me 3 or 4 years to integrate this awareness and come up with tools for navigating the physical realm while holding multidimensional awareness. And using these 7 concepts to actually find my beloved partner, find a new place to live, start a new business. I mean, I really put them to the test. And so after about 3 to 4 years of using these concepts, my partner, now husband at the time, and in this moment, he asked me, Aleya, what are the principles or the elements of what you use to create what you have? And what do you teach with your clients? And this was actually before I was teaching classes. And so I was getting on a plane and I pondered that question and literally within 1 or 2 minutes wrote down these 7 sentences. And then after having that framework of these 7 sentences, went on to teach a handful of people these 7 concepts. And so over the last 10 years have been teaching this material. And then in 2009, I started recording audio meditations. And these audio meditations called the Daily Cups of Consciousness also have these 7 concepts woven into them. So the book is really more a result of all of the other work that I've been doing for some time now.
And I have to say that, I just want to suggest to all our audience to go listen to the Daily Cups. Those are so deep and so soothing. I mean, they give such a great start to the day.
Thank you. Yeah, they're sweet.
No, really. I mean, like I said, 4 years ago when I heard your voice and I actually listened to the Daily Cups, it just shifts you. It takes you to such deep peace. And we will continue our conversation after a very short break. So please stay tuned with us.
The cutting edge of conscious radio, OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
What if living didn't have to be so serious?
What if you could move beyond your problems with greater confidence and ease than you've ever imagined?
Throw your labels out the window and join the Irreverent Therapist for practical tips and a very different way of approaching the changes you would like to create.
Marilyn Bradford
and Pam Hodling
have empowered hundreds of people to come out of self-judgment, quit looking to experts, and begin to create the lives they desire.
Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Irreverent Therapist Show.
OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Dr. Kevin here, and I want to invite you every Thursday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, to join me on the Dr. Kevin Show, where we have a diversity of guests who help you step outside the box, behind the curtain, and see what a load of crap is going on in the world today, so you have more information with which to make better decisions. We'll see you there. Namaste.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
And we are back. Welcome back. Welcome back, Alia.
Thank you.
So we were talking about the 7 cups of consciousness. So what made you decide to write a book on that?
Other than my agent, who is also a dear friend, reminding me that not everybody has an angelic Bluetooth. And I had really been wanting to write the book for a long time, but I work best on a deadline. And so when Deborah said to me, there are so many people out there that would be helped by your material, because she does the daily cups. She's a good friend. I share my insights with her. And so she was a huge supporter. And then also all of my subscribers and clients were asking me for years, Aleya, could you please write all these concepts down so that we can understand it at a deeper level? And so I think it came from a lot of different places, and also my desire to serve and to help and to share tools that are effective and can help people find a greater degree of peace and empowerment in their lives. And so I think that it came from all angles. And then, of course, the angelic realm saying, Aleya, it might be a good idea for you to write these things down. So, so it was really, from that. And also I had to cultivate a certain amount of discipline and focus in order to sit down and truly write a book. And that was about a 7-year process that I was very conscious of. Okay, if I'm going to write a book, I have to cultivate this level of discipline. And so I learned how to fly a plane. I took up the piano. I learned the guitar, a myriad of things to help me cultivate discipline so that I could embrace this task with grace and ease as much as possible.
How amazing is that? And how was that journey like? Of course, it's not easy, right?
Well, I don't know if easy or hard is really the best description. I think of it like if there is something that we really, really want to accomplish in our life or do, then we have to think about what are the inner qualities we need to cultivate and attain in order to follow through with that goal. And so when I was a child, I had dyslexia, ADD, and discipline and focus is not exactly top on that list. Creativity is, and freedom and spontaneity, and the ability to perceive these other dimensions. And so when I started pondering the process of writing the book, I practiced doing morning pages, writing in the morning for half an hour religiously, and then thought, okay, I need to take it to a deeper level. My body needs to attain a certain level of discipline and focus. And so by taking up, learning how to fly a plane, and then taking up piano, and then taking up different aspects, I really looked at it more like a training and a building a particular kind of muscle. So whenever we think about what we want to accomplish in life, think about the inner qualities that you would need to embody. And then instead of embracing that task or that project, start looking at other things that might be a little bit easier or a little more fun to help you cultivate that deep inner quality within. So that's one approach.
That's a very valuable tip. I think I definitely needed it.
So we circle, and then eventually we get to the point.
Wow, how amazing. But so it took you 7 years.
No, it took me much longer to write the book. I worked on the book in the higher realms for over 10 years. And so, everything that I think we create in the physical dimension, some part of us is actually working on it in a higher realm for years or months or weeks. And then we engage in it in the physical realm.
So, after that enlightenment experience, you started, a lot of things started unfolding for you.
I was already, an alternative healer. I was already in private practice. So I had been immersed in alternative medicine for over a decade, and I was already meditating. And so it was definitely different. But fortunately, because of my history, my training, my research, it wasn't completely out of the blue. I think that if I had been like, an accountant or a lawyer or a banker and completely focused on 3D and not even having any awareness that there are other dimensions and that there are angels and guides that work with us, I think it could have been really mind-blowing and really disorienting and really frightening. But fortunately, I had training as a psychic clairvoyant, and so my third eye was already developed. I had already practiced connecting with guides and other dimensions and other realms and had done vision quests and lots of meditating. And so it was not a gentle evolution, but definitely an evolution and awakening. And then really the point is that in every moment we have little teeny tiny mini enlightenment experiences. Every single breath we take is actually helping us cultivate a deeper level of connection with the essence. And so with all of our, it's really an awakening, I think, that's happening on the planet. It's accelerating and people are becoming more sensitive. And so really looking at every single breath we take as a mini enlightenment moment. And what would happen if three times a day we took a deep breath in, we pulled ourselves into this inner river, I call it the divine line that flows within. And then you invite your higher self, which is that energetic part of you, to pull yourself into this inner river of light and start experiencing a deeper level of connection. And then as we hold that deeper level of connection inside, we're able to connect with our guides, our angels, our team to a deeper degree, and then connect with others from a more authentic, connected place as well.
How beautiful that is. Yeah. So tell us, what are the 7 cups of consciousness?
The first cup I've mentioned a little bit. It speaks to the idea that we live in the physical realm, but that there are these other realms, other floors, dimensions that we do have access to. They have resources. So you live in a multi-dimensional reality. And then the second cup talks about the idea that we are never alone. You have guides, team, and angels around you, and they can help you. The third cup talks about the idea of shifting your inner world. And as you shift your inner world, your outer world changes. What you connect with internally is what you reflect externally. And so when you start tapping into these other dimensions, your higher self, that energetic part of you, to start cultivating different vibrations internally, then the outer world starts to change in really beautiful ways. And the fourth cup talks about the idea that every challenge you have is an opportunity for growth and evolution. It literally has the ability to be your greatest strength if you know how to work it, flip it, and milk it. The fifth cup talks about the idea that your body is actually a nature spirit. You are not your body. You are riding in a body. It's like your vehicle, and it has its own unique consciousness. The sixth cup speaks to the idea that you are a soul who perhaps has incarnated many, many times, and you've cultivated very particular gifts, wisdom and mastery inside you. And you use those gifts and model that in the world. And then the seventh cup, my favorite, you are perfect. There is a river of light that flows inside you. And when you use your inhale to pull yourself into this inner river of light, you feel the divine connection, the oneness with everyone and everything.
Okay. So my question is it like a 7 steps process? Like you have to realize number 1 first?
You do. Yeah, because if we're going to do what I would say is a protocol or a prayer, the very first step of that protocol, prayer process is acknowledging that there is this other dimension that you have access to, that you're actually expressing yourself in. And we call that the higher self. And your higher self has access to your energy fields. And so the very first step of a protocol is I invite my higher self to locate, and then you would think of the energy you want to shift inside yourself, locate the fear or the insecurity or the abandonment. And then you would continue holding that first cup, invite your higher self to activate the solution, connection, flow, inner support, abundance. And then we have to take a deep breath and we have to wait and we have to just let some other vibrational part of us that is not the mind, not really our will. We can't really control this aspect in the physical dimension because it's not physical.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we let go and we allow this higher vibrational part of ourselves to use our energy fields to affect a change in a higher realm, then we start to feel the ripple, the reflection of this shift that's happening. And I think of the physical dimension literally as a reflection of the higher realms, the other dimensions. And so if we want to change the physical dimension, we would go to the blueprints, to these higher realms where it's actually being created from.
So I have a question. So physical realm is considered to be low vibrating.
Or a reflection of the higher realms.
We are a reflection of the higher realms.
Right.
So when we are in that state of bliss, that's what we will manifest in the physical reality?
Yeah, imagine literally on a higher floor, not the physical plane, to some other dimension, being in total bliss.
Mm-hmm.
You are receiving it there. You're attached to it there. You're experiencing it there with your energy self, not your mind and not your body.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you experience it there, you start to reflect it down to yourself here. I think of the physical dimension simply as the surface of the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
so if you want to change what is being reflected on the surface of the mirror, we wouldn't put lipstick on the mirror. Right? We wouldn't put our hat on the mirror. We would put the hat on our head and then lipstick on our lips.
Right.
And then that's what gets reflected. And so when we use that analogy and we make the changes in those higher planes at our energy self, higher self, then that is what starts getting reflected into the physical dimension.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah, I really love it. And when you say we are never alone, we can always tap into those higher energies or connect with the guides who are around us all the time.
Yeah, we have guides and we also have a team. So our team are beings of love and light, and they're actually with us 24/7. As a child, you may have remembered them as your imaginary friends.
Awesome. And we will take just a very short break and we'll be right back to discuss it in detail.
Free your mind with OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
If you remember living fearlessly, joyfully, and in a world filled with adventure, happiness, pleasure, and unbridled living, then this show is for you. Join me, Dame Nicole Brandon, as I bring you the world's top experts in wealth, creativity, flow, sea-edging technology, space, wellness, health, love, lust, and passion, all merging together each week here at the Hub of Happiness. Mondays at 6 p.m. Pacific Time and 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Passionate Living, where you can ride on the magic carpet ride of living and learn how to lead a passionately wild, exciting, and outrageously amazing life.
Simone Milasas would like you to know that business can be fun, which is why she wrote the book, Joy of Business. What if you could have the joy of business rather than the stress and struggle? Most of the time, the only thing stopping you from a thriving business is you. In the Joy of Business book, Simone gives you access consciousness tools and pragmatic ways to get out of your own way and to create the business, life, and living you know is possible and beyond what this reality says is achievable. Business is joy. It's creation. It's generative. It can be the adventure of living. You can purchase your copy of the book through Amazon or Joy of Business website, www.accessjoyofbusiness.com. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Come heal yourself. What is healing? Healing is nothing but connecting to your all-knowing higher self that already has solutions to all your problems and is always there to guide you. Through this show, we help you to connect with that you are and help you realize the innate potential you have to heal every aspect of your life. So come heal yourself every Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern, with your host, Monica Goyal. Namaste.
Feed your soul with waves of consciousness on OMTimes Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back, Aleya.
Thank you.
So, we were talking about that we are never alone. There is a team.
Right. And your team are with you 24/7, whereas your guides come and go depending on your needs. So if you're a healer, you might have a group of guides that show up when you go into a session.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a teacher, you might have a group of guides that show up when you walk into the classroom.
Mm.
Whereas your team, they're at a similar level of evolution and they're on the same field, interested in heading in the same direction. And so the more you connect with your team and invite them to hold very particular qualities, vibrations inside themselves, the more positively, empathically impacted you will be. So if you're struggling with fear or self-hatred, you would have your team hold trust and self-love deep inside themselves every single day as you journey through your process.
Wow. So it's again like asking for help.
Asking for help, but not by having someone or something do something to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's about holding personal responsibility for yourself and inviting the angelic realm to encircle you and hold very particular vibrations inside themselves that positively impacts you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're not giving your power away, and then you're not becoming dependent on another being regardless of the dimension they're in.
Mm. Wow. It gives a lot of clarity.
Yes. Yeah. And empowering, it's like, we can ask our team to hold these qualities inside themselves, and it's because they're not in the physical dimension. It's actually easier and faster for them to shift than it is for us.
For us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get dimensionally positively impacted.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we reflect, as you said.
Yes. Then our energy fields move into that higher vibration that we're being exposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And then our body starts holding a higher vibration as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's just one thing that you're struggling with in your life, think about what the solution would be. So now we're sipping from the fourth cup, using your challenges to grow and evolve. And in that chapter, there's actually, a thing that I call the flip it section or the flip it chart. And when you start to identify your challenge and think about the solution, and then you ask your guides and your team to hold that vibration inside themselves and in the higher realms, activating sacred shapes and sounds and light in these other dimensions that fully embody that solution, then you're actually going to start practicing what you intend to master instead of doing the opposite.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And what do you mean by ride right in your body?
That is sipping from the fifth cup.
Mm-hmm.
And the fifth cup talks about the idea that your body is a nature spirit. It has its own unique consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we were to use the analogy of riding in a car or riding a horse, when you think about riding and driving a car, we immediately go to, well, if I'm going to drive a car, I need to be in the front seat, not the passenger seat, not the trunk, not the back seat. And so when we think about riding a horse, we immediately think, I need to ride on the saddle, on the back of the horse. When you're in a body, you actually want to be riding on the front of the spine, holding all of your energy in this inner river of light that I call the divine line.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're in a body, instead of smearing yourself all over the body or lifting yourself off of the seat and having an uncontrolled ride, we want to take a deep breath in and pull all of our energy onto the front of the spine. And then we want our body to start controlling itself and being responsible for itself.
So can you explain what a person's divine line is and how can we, identify, how can we feel it?
Yeah, the divine line is like a river of light, and it's in the body. And if you just imagine just close your eyes unless you're driving. Don't close your eyes if you're driving. Yeah. And when you close your eyes, you're taking your awareness off of the physical dimension and you're bringing your awareness into an inner reality, an interdimensional experience. And then you just imagine, however you do, feeling it, seeing it, hearing it, a tube or a channel of light that flows up and down the front of the spine. It goes out the top of your head, and it also goes out your base chakra. And so it's this big column, waterfall. Maybe it's just an inch in diameter, however you perceive it. Mm-hmm. And if you imagine holding yourself in this inner column, you are in your divine line. And as soon as you get in your divine line, you gain access to your higher self. You are now able to make a request to this energetic part of you that uses your energy fields to affect very particular changes. But if you're not in your divine line, when you make a request, it's not going to be as efficient. It'd be sort of like trying to send an email when you're not hooked up to the internet.
Yeah. So you have to be connected. That's your...
You don't have to be connected. I'm not saying that if you're not in your divine line that the request isn't going to have the full impact. But the more you're in your divine line, the faster your connection speed.
Got it.
Not in your divine line, think of dial-up internet connection. In your divine line, think of super fast Ethernet cord connection.
And I can feel it.
Yes.
It's very powerful.
And the more you do it, the stronger it gets.
And I mean, I can feel that deep sense of peace. And I personally, I mean, for everyone, it could be different. Yeah. But I just wanted to share, it feels like a very cooling and soothing.
Beautiful. Yeah, you're in it.
Energy. Yes. How beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for doing it. And that's the key piece, is that we get these tools, but the variable is, are we going to use them? And the more we use them, the stronger they get. And I think a lot of the times in our spiritual growth and our evolution, we might think that some other healer or teacher can do something for us. But really, the journey is us taking responsibility for our own spiritual growth and evolution, and then picking up the tools that resonate and letting go of the tools that don't. So with these 7 cups, the whole premise is to have you, at the level of your higher self, do the work on you, in you, for you, as opposed to anyone doing anything to you. And then you keep moving into more and more power and personal responsibility. And then we're really able to change our life, because if we keep making everybody hoping that some healer, some teacher will be able to fix all of our challenges, then we actually stay in the victim. And then there's an inner emptiness and a frustration and anxiety. So the more we take responsibility for our own process and our own journey, the more empowered we get. And I remember early on, after my enlightenment experience, really wanting to meet the Dalai Lama. And the guides were saying, well, why do you want to meet the Dalai Lama? And I said, well, I want him to recognize, my light. And my guides were like, well, that's not his job. It's your job to recognize your light. And so instead of looking to someone that we think is more evolved than we are to recognize us, what would happen if we started recognizing that deep inside? Then it gets brighter and stronger and lighter.
How interesting. I mean, like you said before, it's not like you have that enlightenment experience and life is all bliss. So these questions still pop up.
Absolutely. But then the piece was that I was determined to find solutions for these disempowering or fear-based thoughts. And so by having the awareness of these other dimensions and having my angelic Bluetooth headset with my guides, it really gave me kind of a key of being able to access these other planes and ponder deeply what was truly being asked for. So there was a level of courage, determination, and awareness.
Wow. Yeah. No, thank you so much for sharing yourself authentically with us.
Of course.
No, we all go through these questions, Aleya, as you know. And
we do.
There is so much. So like you said, I mean, in your 6th cup, you talk about embracing your soul's gifts. I mean, if we take it as an example, so many of us have confusion about that. There is that fogginess.
Yeah. Of like, what are my gifts?
Yeah.
And so one of the first ways to identify what your soul's gifts are is, I'll just be totally direct. So let's just assume that you have journeyed for many, many incarnations, thousands and thousands of lives, in a myriad of forms and planets and dimensions. And you've had so many different experiences. And all of those experiences have helped you cultivate a very particular vibration in your divine line river of light, front of spine. Now, when you're not in a human body, you're just a beam of light. But this beam of light that is your soul essence energy has very particular qualities. And so when we want to tap into, well, what are the qualities and the gifts and the wisdom that my soul has cultivated over many, many lifetimes? You would ask yourself the question, what are the things that you value? What are the qualities that are really important to you? Is it peace? Is it joy? Is it connection? Is it clarity? Is it integrity? What are some of the positive adjectives that someone would use to describe you? And so as soon as you get clear on what just one of those is, then what we want to do is we want to close our eyes and take a deep breath in and pull ourselves into our divine line, river of light, front of spine. Get in that column. And then imagine, invite, intend, ask your higher self to activate that vibration of that current, that stream of light that carries that quality. And then feel it flowing vertically inside you. Recognize how it supports you, inspires you in every breath.
Beautiful. We'll come back after a short break. Please stay tuned with us.
The best of holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
Are you ready to shift your energy, consciousness, and limiting beliefs? Join me, Shefali Burns, every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern on Shifting with Shefali here on OMTimes Radio. Shift the blocks, limitations, and negative energies that have kept you from experiencing a life filled with joy, peace, love, abundance, and happiness. Are you ready to shift with Shefali? Are you ready to shine your brilliance?
As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Welcome to the gathering around my kitchen table on Equilarium FM, Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join my guests as we integrate spirituality into everyday reality with vibrant conversations, inspired interviews, and my latest channeled guidance to inspire and brighten your day. I'm Claire Johnson, and together we'll be raising vibrations across the nations.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome back, everyone. Before we move in our discussion, I would like to share where you can find Aleya's book, 7 Cups of Consciousness. It's available on Amazon and also Barnes & Noble and New World Library. And as you can, already feel how deep it is and how it can help you go deeper on your path and evolve. I would really encourage you to read the book. I have been reading it and it's amazing. And what we are discussing is only a very, I would say, just a bit of it. It takes you much deeper on your journey. So you can find it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and New World Library. And also, if you would like to try, and I would highly encourage you to try the free samples of the cups. It's on cupsofconsciousness.com. And also, Aleya's beautiful, blissful music is available on soundstrew.com. And there you can find it in Light Body Sound Healing. And we move back to our 7 Cups of Consciousness with Aleya. And we were talking about embracing our soul's gifts, recognizing and embracing those gifts. Aleya was explaining us how we can do that.
Yes. So when you're holding your awareness in that inner river and feeling that stream of your gifts flowing inside you, then you increase that awareness of what you are truly supported by. Mm-hmm. So often we look externally for support and validation. And so when we're holding our gifts inside ourselves, vibrationally, energetically, what starts to happen is we start receiving our gifts more deeply. Mm-hmm. We're validating our gifts. We're not looking for validation externally. And so then the self-confidence increases. And as we're holding our gifts internally, wanting that for ourselves, we're modeling that in the world. And then that actually positively impacts how we are supported in our outer world because we're tapping into this deep inner support. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I think, as you mentioned, the 7th cup is you are perfect.
Yes.
That's a hard one.
Well, not so much. If you start looking for your perfection only internally in that inner river of light, you'll actually find it. And we use the inhale to pull ourselves into this inner river, kind of like our life depends on it. Mm-hmm. Another way to think of the physical dimension is as the bottom of the ocean. Mm-hmm. And your divine line is your oxygen tube. And so when you think about being at the bottom of the ocean with an oxygen line, you're not going to go very far from your oxygen line. That is your lifeline. And so when you think of your physical experience, the safest place to be is in your divine line. And you can use your inhale to get in there. Mm-hmm. And then as you tap into this inner river of light and you start recognizing this beautiful, exquisite light that is flowing in this inner column, all you have to do is love that. Nothing else. Mm-hmm. Not your belief systems, your behaviors, what people think of you, your accomplishments, your goals, your dreams, just the light flowing in your divine line. And as you start to cultivate more light for this river of light that is so beautiful, mm-hmm. That's actually how we cultivate self-love, is recognizing the beauty flowing in the divine line. Then we're able to hold a space for our body to start tapping into its divine line that runs through the spine and loving its light that flows within. Then inviting our team to love their light that flows in their divine lines. And now we have the sacred trinity, you, your body, and team, all holding a vibration of self-love deep in your core. And then what happens is all of the people in your life start reflecting to you how you are loving yourself, how you are embracing, receiving yourself.
How beautiful. That's beautiful.
And it sounds, it might sound simple, and it actually is. When we think it's really complicated and difficult, that's when we start to spin. And so if we just invite this vibrational part of ourselves, our energy self, our super self, to begin to activate and connect with these divine parts of ourselves, we start to feel that ripple reflection phenomenon in the physical plane, in our emotions, and our mind. I really think of the mind as a really good, strong mouse or trackpad on a computer. And your higher self is the hard drive. And so we can use our mind to make the request. And we double click on the hard drive. Hard drive, activate the vibration of self-love and peace and deep inner connection. And then we have to let go and let the hard drive, higher self, energy self do that work. And then what starts to reflect is literally on the computer screen. And our mind starts to reference this shift that's happening in a higher realm. So the premise of the book is really using these other dimensions to change our physical world, that we're not using the physical dimension to change the physical dimension. I guess the only thing you would be doing in the physical dimension is you'd be reading the book, but then really letting some other part of you do the work up high.
Yeah. Yeah. And you also talk about working with your team. We discussed that body deva, and body deva means like the physical self.
Yeah, it is literally your physical human form. Your legs, your arms, your belly, your butt, that is the human body, right? In the physical dimension. And it is just like a horse, but way more evolved than a horse. And it has a channel, a saddle, that it is being very gracious to let you ride in it.
Yeah.
And so when we recognize that we are literally riding in a body that has its own consciousness that is totally different and separate from our own. I mean, if you were riding a horse, you wouldn't think you were the horse.
Yes.
When you're driving a car, you don't think that you are the car. And when you pull up to the gas tank, you don't put the nozzle in your mouth. It's like, that's for your car. You don't eat the oats that the horse eats. And the horse knows the pastures and the fields that it likes to run in. Right. And so when we recognize that our body is from Earth, of Earth, it knows this terrain. It knows how to manifest. We don't have a clue. We're not physical beings.
Right.
We're just having an empathic physical experience. And so the more we give responsibility to our body to manifest what it wants, to heal itself, control itself, love itself, protect itself, and we as the conscious, co-creative rider in the body, love ourselves, our rivers of light, control our vibration that we're holding in our divine line, find our support deep in our core, not even on our body, just in our divine line, then we start having this really healthy co-creative experience.
It's awesome. Oh, we have so much to discuss and the time is just running. So very quickly, if you can explain what are protocols and reference points, and then we would love to do a short process with your music.
Great. So a protocol is a prayer. It is a full working prayer. And there are 7 steps for every full working protocol or prayer. The very first step actually goes with the first cup, accessing these other dimensions, and then embracing the team that encircles us. And so just because of our timing, I'd love to walk us through just a 2-minute process of a full working protocol prayer. Taking a deep breath in, closing your eyes, and using your inhale to pull yourself into an inner river of light that flows up and down the front of your spine. Imagine standing in a waterfall of light. We invite your higher self to work with your energetic fields and the guides to pull all of your awareness off of the outer world and into this column of light that flows within you to activate the vibration of your essence. your inner gifts, wisdom and mastery in your divine line. We invite your body, Diva Nature Spirit, to activate the vibration of its essence, its inner gifts as it flows in its divine line that runs through the spine. And to invite your team, these beings of love and light that are here to buffer and support you, to encircle you and activate the vibration of their essence and their inner gifts as they stand in another dimension a finger breath away. Breathing in, holding your awareness in this column of light, and imagine your gifts flowing there. A beautiful, exquisite light that is your essence, and that is the only energy you need to love, embrace. Imagine vertically and internally receiving the light that flows within you. Invite your higher self to activate it and reflect it down to you here in this realm. And gently expanding your magnetics, your roots. For the more grounded you are, the higher a vibration you can hold. Inviting your higher self to work with your energetic fields and the guides to firmly attach your divine line to the front of your spine, so that as you ride in the body, it is gentle, graceful, joyful, and connected in every breath. We ask that all of your reference points are updated and that you are wrapped in sheets of rainbow light. Let it be so. Oh.
Beautiful. Just out of the world. Took us really deep. Thank you so much, Aleya.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Love and gratitude to you.
You as well.
Wish you so much success. Namaste.
Thank you.
Namaste, listeners.